Hey guys, Kevin here from thesportsgeek.com, and in this video, I'm going over my DraftKings NFL Week 11 picks. So quickly, before we move on to the Week 11 picks, let's take a look at Week 10. It was a rough Week 10 for me. I did have a couple good picks, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Reed, Gary Barnidge, but I had quite a few busts, single digits for Stephon Diggs, D'Angelo Williams, Sammy Watkins on Thursday night, and then the Rams defense surprisingly got torched by Chicago at home. They only put up 2 points. I did send out another email this week where I emailed out Cousins, who was a top quarterback at 31.96 points. So that was a good play there, but overall not a great week. I did get a couple emails. Congrats to Eric. He said he won $394. He used a few players from Fantasy Labs, mixed them in with my picks and the Cousins Reed stack, and cashed in for a nice payday. So congrats to Eric. If you guys want to sign up for Fantasy Labs, the link is in the description below, and we've got a promo running until the end of November if you use the code SPORTSGEEK. So just SPORTSGEEK, one word. If you use that as the code, you will get a trial for $7.50. So that's 50% off their normal trial price. All right, so let's move on to the NFL Week 11 picks. Just a reminder that these picks are for the big guaranteed prize pool contest at DraftKings, and these are just some of my top plays. I do have other plays. This isn't a full lineup or anything, just some top plays for the week, and I'll mix in some other players with them. My favorite quarterback wide receiver stack of the week is Carson Palmer at 6,700 and Larry Fitzgerald at 7,200. Palmer's been a top 3 quarterback this year, arguably the number 1. He's got a tough matchup versus Cincy, but last week he faced the Seahawks, who are really good defensively, and he threw for 363 yards and 3 touchdowns. So the matchup doesn't really matter when you've got such an elite quarterback playing at such an elite level. He's got 23 touchdowns on the year, just 7 interceptions. The Cardinals' offense leads the league with 6.5 yards per play. Fitzgerald had 15 targets last week and double-digit targets in 3 of his last 4 games. He's already had 4 games this season with 20 or more DraftKings points, and one of them where he put up 40.2 DraftKings points. So I'll be stacking Fitzgerald quite a bit with Palmer this week. My favorite running back play this week is Charcandrick West at 4,500. His last 3 weeks at DraftKings, he's put up 23, 22, and 31 points. In those 3 games, he's had 20 or more carries and 5 or more targets in each game. This week, he's got an ideal matchup versus the Chargers, who rank last versus the run and second last in the league, giving up 6.3 yards per play. So great matchup for him. He's playing really well. They're giving him a lot of touches. He's going to be a popular pick this week at 4,500, but I can't leave him out of my lineups. He'll be in a ton of my lineups this week. So this is a bit of a contrarian play at wide receiver. I'm going with Brandon LaFell at $4,300. With Edelman out, Amendola is going to be the popular play at $300 less. But I think LaFell's a great play this week. He's received 6 or more targets in each of his 4 games this year. He's got high upside being a deep threat. And the Bills are great versus number 1 wide receivers. And I'm thinking Amendola is going to be their number 1. He's going to be shadowed by the Bills' best defensive backs. So I think LaFell at 4,300 could put up a big game for the Patriots on Monday night. My favorite tight end play of the week is Travis Kelce at 4,700. His price is at a season low this week despite a pretty solid season. He's facing a Chargers defense that's 31st in yards against per play and 28th versus tight ends. He had a bad week last week, putting up single-digit DraftKings points, but the 3 prior weeks he had 16, 12, and 13 DraftKings points. And he does have the upside, as we saw earlier this year, where he put up 31 DraftKings points in week 1, I believe it was. So Kelce's facing a week D, good matchup. I wouldn't be afraid to pair him with West. I think they can both have big games this week against the Chargers. All right, so 5 more picks here. We've got the Eagles defense at 3,100. They're the 6th best defense in the NFL with 5.2 yards against per play, and they're 5th in the league with 12 interceptions. They're going to be facing Tampa Bay and Jameis Winston, who has 9 interceptions on the season. Tampa Bay hasn't faced a lot of great defenses this year. When they did face a top Panthers defense, Winston threw for 4 interceptions. So I don't rank the Eagles with the Panthers, but when Winston does have a tough matchup, he can throw interceptions. So I like the Eagles at 3,100. Then we've got my second favorite stack of the week is going to be Matthew Stafford with Golden Tate, a really cheap stack here. So Stafford and the Lions are hosting the Raiders, who are 24th ranked defensively and 26th in yards against per play. Stafford's been throwing the ball a ton this year. He's had some tough matchups, but in his easiest matchup versus the Bears at home this year, he put up 37.9 DraftKings points. We were on him that week, and we hope to be on him for another big week this week. So I'm going to be pairing him with Tate. Although Kelvin Johnson is the obvious choice, Tate is $2,600 cheaper. And Oakland does rank 10th versus opponents' number 1 receivers, but 26th versus their number 2. So I think this will open up the field a little bit for Tate. Tate has yet to have a huge game this season, but he has put up double-digit DraftKings points in 4 of their last 4 games. And he does have the upside with the ability to run after he catches the ball and put up some big plays. So at 4,600, I'll be stacking Tate with Stafford, and that gives us lots of money to work with for the rest of our lineups. Another running back here, Lamar Miller at 6,200. The Dolphins are going to be facing the Cowboys this week, who rank 27th against the rush. Miller has scored 21 or more DraftKings points in 4 of his last 5 games, and the other game he scored 14.4 points. So very high floor lately. He's had 5 receptions in his last 3 games. So although he's not running the ball a ton, he does get receptions in the passing game. So he's got high upside. He's been putting up big points. No reason not to play him this week at 6,200. And then we've got one Thursday night play, which is going to be tight end Delaney Walker at 4,800. The Titans are in Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. The Jaguars are 3rd against the rush, but 30th against the pass, and they're also 31st against tight ends. Walker has double-digit DraftKings points in 6 of 8 weeks he's played, and the Titans are dealing with injuries at wide receiver, giving Walker probably a lot more targets than normal. So at $4,800, I think Walker's a great value for Thursday's game. I had a suggestion in the YouTube comments to include a player to avoid every week at DraftKings, so I started doing that in my FanDuel videos, and I'll start it here with my DraftKings videos. I have a warning. I'm going to include this every week. This player could have a big game. I'm just choosing to avoid him at DraftKings this week. Do so at your own risk. So these players are going to be good players that could have big games, but I'm just going to be betting against them for this specific week. So this week it's going to be Jeremy Langford, running back for Chicago at 5,600. He's coming off 2 monster games, 40 DraftKings points and 25 DraftKings points, but his price is up $800 this week. Forte's status is unsure. He's injured, but he's possibly going to come back this week. So we might not know maybe right up until game time. From what I've heard, he still is limited in practice, but you never know. He could come back and play on Sunday. So that's something to watch as well. Langford's got a tough matchup versus Denver's number 1 rated defense, who are giving up just 4.3 yards per play. So I do think Langford's a great player. I just won't be playing him at DraftKings this week. Fade him at your own risk. All right, that's it, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know by clicking the thumbs up button on YouTube so I know to keep making them. And as long as I can get 1,000 thumbs up on YouTube again this week, I'll make one for week 12. And if you guys don't already have access to my free lineup tool, make sure you click on the link in the YouTube description below to get that for free. And that will also sign you up for my weekly emails as well. All right, guys, as always, good luck in your contest. Hope you guys make some money this week. Cheers.